Hey guys, this is Kyle from Lingo. We have with us here the Sony Xperia XZs in ice blue, which was recently unveiled during the Mobile World Congress a few months back. Before we begin, we can't help but to question the naming convention of the Xperia line of devices, specifically the combination of letters that does not really give a concise understanding of what to expect from each handset. But we will leave that to Sony to sort out in the future. Most importantly, what we have here with us today is the Sony Xperia XZs that comes with some improvements from the Xperia XZ. Our first impressions when being greeted with the phone is pretty much mixed. It is the year 2017 and manufacturers have begun to roll out really fanciful smartphone designs. Sony's take on phone design tend to be more rectangular, and it does accentuate the top and bottom chins especially. But the phone continues to feel comfortable in the hands as the sides are rounded with what Sony calls an omni-balanced design. With a premium finishing called alkylado metal around the phone, you slowly start to agree with Sony's design decisions after spending more time with it. The display is also surrounded by a loop surface that curves really gently towards the edges, making it feel good. Powered by a 2900 mAh battery, the Xperia XZs sports the Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 processor with an increased 4GB of RAM support. You would also be able to choose between a 32GB or 64GB model that is expandable to 256GB of storage space by inserting a micro SD card. If not, you get the option for a dual SIM tray. Also, for some odd reason that could be a safety feature, the phone actually restarts whenever you release the SIM tray. The Full HD display comes in at 5.2 inches, protected by Corning Gorilla Glass. Content consumption can be benefited with the front-facing stereo speakers here that sound pretty decent. The front-facing camera features a 13-megapixel sensor, while the main camera has a 19-megapixel sensor, both at f2.0 aperture with 5-axis stabilization. Not forgetting a feature Sony calls Motion Eye Memory Stack Sensor, which we'll come to in just a bit. At the bottom, you have a USB Type-C port for charging, while the headphone jack is located on the top. What we find impressive is that the lock button on the right side of the phone doubles up as a fingerprint scanner. Pressing down on the button with your thumb positioned properly will actually unlock your phone. Scanning your thumbprint for other authentication purposes would just require you to place it gently over the sensor. Beside it would be the volume rockers, which is placed lower than usual but makes adjusting your phone's volume a lot easier. As usual in Xperia devices, there is also a dedicated shutter button included to launch the camera app and to take pictures with. A half button press would trigger and lock in the autofocus. One of the biggest camera features here is the Motion Eye Memory Stack Sensor, which we mentioned earlier. Sony has established that it can capture slow motion videos at an astounding 960 frames per second. To put that in perspective, the iPhone 7 Plus can only take up to 240 frames per second. Such a high frame rate really creates the ability to capture smoother, action-packed activities. You may choose to take a slow motion capture in one shot, but it does cut out the before and after moments, which usually include memorable reactions. The better option is to start a video capture and tapping on the slow motion button just in when the action happens. However, it does come with some limitations. Each resulting clip produced is a mere 5 seconds, played back at 30 frames per second. If you do the math, the real-time slow motion capture is just a short 0.15 seconds. This means you have got to press that slow motion button at a very accurate timing to get the best results. It certainly took us a few tries to get it right. During this capture, the sensor will also be cropped to 720p and you get a smaller shot in frame. In our opinion, we genuinely find the ability to capture 960 frames per second pretty exciting, especially with something like a smartphone. Another feature packed in the camera is predictive capture. Simply put, the Xperia XZs starts taking photos before you can even take it, after which you are able to choose from 4 different shots taken before you press that button. A pretty cool feature if you usually miss the right moments in jump shots. But of course, every smartphone now has to be water resistant. The Xperia XZs is rated at IP65/68, which protects you against water splashes or rainfall, and even in dusty environments. The battery performance of the Xperia XZs has been pretty satisfactory throughout our daily use. It includes an ability called Smart Stamina that optimizes your battery performance as it learns your usage and charging patterns that could ultimately avoid damaging the battery and doubling the lifespan over time. But of course, you would have to use this device over months to really feel that difference. Overall, we feel that Sony has been really cautious with pushing new designs or features into their smartphones. Nevertheless, the Xperia XZs has still got some appeal to the consumers out there. We hope you have enjoyed our full review of the Sony Xperia XZs, so feel free to leave questions or suggestions in the comments down below, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't. This is Kyle signing off.